Hello, everybody. Good evening. So, welcome to another Resident Spotlight show, with me, Steve Surridge, coming to you live from. This is pre-recorded tonight from Old Oak, the Collective Old Oak. And yeah, just a reminder before we meet our special guest tonight. The purpose of the show is to showcase the amazing talent that resides in both the Old Oak and Canary Wharf Collective buildings. So, if you've got a business, a hobby, any kind of weird and wonderful interest, anything basically that you want to share with the residents here, the building, just drop me a line. I will give you my email address. It is tnltvshow@gmail.com. Yeah, send me all the information and I'll be in touch. And yeah, we'll get you on the show promoting yourself. And remember, the footage is online. It's kept online afterwards. You can use it for your own promotional means, whatever. There's no copyright, but yeah, get yourself out to the world. That's what it's all about. So our special guest tonight is Ben Lawson, and he resides at Canary Wharf. Let's bring Ben in. Hello, Ben. How are you?
Hello, Steve. Doing very well. Thanks for feeding me.
Yeah, no worries. Yes. So you are a man with a talent, aren't you? You're a singer with the London International Choir.
Oh, you're very kind, Steve. Giving me a lot of credit. I'm not sure if I deserve it, but here we go. So yes, absolutely. So my typical day job is that of a management consultant, very typical sort of person who works in Canary Wharf. But my real passion is being the organizer and committee chair of the London International Choir, which is a choir based in central London. And the key really is in the name. It's an international choir. It's formed of people from all over the world, and we sing songs in just as many languages as we have different people.
No, that's fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so I've got to ask, are you any good?
I think we're all right, Steve.
Okay. Well, we got some footage. We've got some footage. So if anyone's doubting, oh yeah, what is this guy about? Let's play some footage now to just show the quality organisation that you're a significant part of. Wow, you're really good.
Aye, very kind. That was that piece was sung at our we called it our winter concert. It happened in February this year, and
Okay.
that was the first concert we'd had back after 2 years of lockdowns.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Yeah, okay. So I think I spotted you on the clip. You were the one wearing black.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that right? Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
have spotted me next to the other person
Cool.
wearing black and the other person wearing black, and yeah, absolutely.
You are the men in black. So how long have you been doing this?
So I've been singing in choirs for about 10 years now. I started fresh into university. Previously was absolutely the worst singer you have ever heard.
I don't believe you. I don't. People won't believe you when you say that.
Believe it. I can call up old music teachers and indeed my dear family to validate that claim. But the great thing about these choirs and the singing experience I found as a whole, if you find the sort of place that encourages you and works with you and gives you that space to really explore what you can do, it may take a little bit of time. It didn't happen overnight, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But a few years in, you end up sounding not too bad.
So
And,
the London International Choir is the place to be accepted, developed. Yeah, they treat you
absolutely.
gently and let you develop your talent at your own
Of
speed,
course.
would you say? Yeah.
Absolutely. So we've got a really great community of singers of varying abilities
Yeah.
in the choir. We've got people who are just starting out, and we've got people who've been singing for years and are very musically talented. And we've also got an excellent musical director. You'll have spotted him at the front. He was the one giving us the direction.
Yeah.
And yes, absolutely. We always make sure we take the time in our rehearsals to help people through and give people as much support as they can to really get into the music in that way.
Your website, I was checking out your website. You've got this very sociable photo here, so you look like you get on really well. Is it a real extension to your social life, is it? Is it a big part of your social life?
I would say it's probably one of the biggest parts of my social life. I see that. Bearing in mind I'd been doing choir singing for a little while by the time I joined the London International Choir, the main thing that set this particular group apart from everybody else was this incredible community spirit.
Wow, okay.
As I'll go on to uncover later, as I worked with them and took part, the choir was originally set up back in 2014 as almost a meeting point, a safe place for people who are new in the city, potentially people who'd come from very far away, potentially in a place where this isn't necessarily your first language. And it was initially conceived as this idea of a place where you can bring together people, no matter what the nationality, no matter what your background, just with the passion for singing and music.
Wow, okay, so it's a much more bigger purpose driving this than just the singing. The singing is obviously really important, but it is about bringing people together, creating a sense of community within a big city that can potentially be very lonely and very damaging to your mental health. Yeah, kind of like what Old Oak and Canary Wharf are about, aren't they? It's about bringing people together,
Absolutely.
giving you a strong sense of life. Yeah, in the city. No, so you mentioned university at the very beginning. How did you get into this? What made you want to sing?
Oh well, that's a big question. At the time, I was trying everything that I could possibly find, whether it was singing, whether it was dancing.
Okay.
Yeah, not so much success on that front, but you never know. And I found, again, it was a big part of it was the social and community spirit that tended to go hand in hand with the singing activities, whether that was doing an amateur stage musical or two back in the day.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you make friends really quickly when you're spending 2-3 hours on a Thursday evening dancing around on a stage and singing songs.
I was going to say, actually, because my background's drama, so I totally get the performing, and to be a performer, it's quite a vulnerable thing. You have to dare to put yourself out there. And you do very quickly, you form deep relationships with the people that you're working with because they've dared to put themselves out as well. Is there a vulnerability around singing when you first start doing it, would you say?
I would say certainly when you first start doing it. And I would even say that up until probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I still felt, and indeed to an extent even to this day, I still feel those tremors, that the butterflies in the stomach, knees weak, palms are sweaty, sort of thing, every time.
That's part of the exhilaration, though, isn't it? When you break through that, despite feeling that, and you break through it, that's when you get the mega buzz at the end.
Very true.
Yeah.
That very photo you showed, Steve, of all of us hugging it out together at the end of what would have been a very busy and intense sort of concert week. I can only tell you the sort of adrenaline release and positive energy that you feel after your concerts are done is truly fantastic.
I've noticed you got a fashion. You wear black and you wear white. Is that the all of you do? What's that about?
So we always try. We have our musical director, and we also have an artistic board. And the artistic board's responsibilities are deciding on our songs that we're going to do for the coming seasons that we're in, and they also work with our musical director on how we're going to stage the concerts. Now that could include outfits. We tend to go relatively conservative with the outfits. I think in some times past we've gone for bright colours, but we typically tend to want the music do the talking. But that doesn't mean we don't necessarily have accessories. So in our most recent concert, which took place back end of June, we had a summery theme, and so we all got handmade little butterfly ornaments that were made by one of our very talented members.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just in the singing that the talent's happening. So, did you train then in this? Is there training that the choir gives you to improve your singing?
So,
or is it just doing it? Would you say it's just the fact you turn up and do it regularly, you get better?
I find you turn up regularly and do it often enough, you will improve. Now, people who train in whatever it is you train in will say that you need to have a frame of reference, some kind of feedback to tell you if you're doing the thing well or poorly. Otherwise, how can you improve? The great thing about being in a choir is there will always be someone else around you singing either your part or singing a part which will work with yours and link with it. So the feedback is instantaneous, and it's very organic as well.
Yeah.
It goes back to this point around how it could be that you go to try out a new skill, and if you can't do it well, you're immediately shut down and pushed out of the picture. That's not the way we do it.
So you're much friendlier than...
We try to be. We try to be friendly. So if say for example you came to our choirs, Steve, and you were stood next to me and we were singing what we call the tenor part, which is the slightly sort of middle to the higher male voices, I would make sure that we were singing along like to each other to make sure we were bouncing off and trying to find the right sort of pitch and the right tune and the right tone that we would be doing. So it would absolutely always be that sort of helping each other spirit.
So are there warm-ups? Do you do like and all that stuff?
Our musical director has a library of exciting warm-ups that are used to not only help with opening up your voice and singing high and singing low, but also elocution. So we sing songs, as I'm sure we'll go on to, in a lot of different languages, and that makes the old mouth work quite hard. So there's often a lot of tongue twisters and little things that we have to make sure we do as well to warm up that whole face.
And so being artistic anyway is very therapeutic and good for the mental health. Singing is as well, isn't it? Would you say that's your experience? That gets the energy buzzing and...
Oh yeah, absolutely. Singing is a much more physical activity than I think a lot of people realise. And the more you do it, the more you'll start to realise, actually, this is a form of exercise.
Yeah.
And like many forms of exercise, that carries a tremendous benefit to your body's chemistry and the way it works. releasing all the positive endorphins. Combine that with the natural power of music to resonate with ourselves, and as well as the sort of feeling of being part of a big activity. Even, I'm not sure, Steve, if you've ever you'll have done drama.
Yeah.
Whether you've just the thrill of being in a big crowd of people and all of you doing the same thing. Whether you're all clapping at a performance, whether you're all learning a new dance move in a party, this carries, I would say, an even greater impact.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned earlier on that COVID did not derail you, did it? Because we've got some footage of what you all did over COVID. Let's take a look now.
This is the way you left me. I'm not pretending. No hope, no love, no glory, no happy ending. This is the way that we love, like it's forever. Then live the rest of our life, but not together. Wake up in the morning, stumble all night. Can't get the love without sacrifice. If anything should happen, I guess I wish you would. A little bit of heaven, and a little bit of hell. This is the hardest story that I have ever told. No hope, no love, no glory, a happy ending.
You guys and girls are really good. I've got to give you that. So how did that work during COVID? Because you sound amazing on Zoom. Most people are kind of distorted and what was that? But yeah, you got it. You managed to continue regardless.
It was certainly not easy, I would say. It wasn't exactly a walk in the park. Like anything that involved a bunch of people getting together in one room, we essentially had to stop doing everything for a time. And the biggest challenge really was the uncertainty of when we could ever actually come back and do things.
Yeah.
Our normal way of working is to rehearse and prepare for a few months, and then there'll be a concert or performance at the end. That's typically how we do it. Not an option during those sort of couple of years. So in an attempt to try and keep things going, we had a couple of our committees, so we have our organizational committee, put in a lot of extra effort to really develop a little program of activities that we would use to stay connected to each other over the period when we couldn't sing in person. There were a couple of online social events. We had online Halloween pumpkin carving was one of our events. As well as guest sort of speakers and real experts in not just music, but other things like yoga and all the interests that our choir are a part of, so that we could have these sort of regular check-ins to make sure everyone was okay and teach people something new.
How long were those sessions? How long did you sing for?
So they were so the sessions were about 90 minutes long. And in order to do this particular project, because this was a big one for us, we'd never done anything like it before. This idea of you record yourself and then it's all put together.
Yeah.
So we had to have a few sessions where we were taught the song by our musical director. Already a challenge because they couldn't hear us back. It's just singing in our living rooms.
Yeah.
We then used a bit of software that would essentially play us a karaoke track. It would play the piano would play in our headphones in our ears, and then it would be on each member of the choir to record themselves singing their line. The system would then take all those parts together, sync them up so they're happening at about the same speed, and then resulting in what you see on that video.
So it was kind of like one of those charity singles, like Band-Aid, where you got all the big pop names in, and they each did a line. You did your own version of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely was an original idea that we didn't steal from anybody.
No, and how important was it to carry on the singing through COVID, through lockdown?
So we, as a committee, decided quite early on that we wanted some level of activity to continue. The choir as a whole was, by that point, most of us had been in it for quite a while, and it was something that was quite important to us. It was arguably a place where some of us, that was where we knew most of the people from our social circles, was from this choir. And indeed, we made it a point to say there were a lot of choirs that didn't make it through.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
Quite a few either closed down or at the very least shuttered their doors to wait to see what came afterwards. We decided to do as much as we could. And that wasn't the sense that we had to do something every single week, and we did get to points where we said, actually, we maybe need to take a bit of a minute, give ourselves a little bit of a break. The fact that by that point, people had been home working for quite some time, and we'd be asking you to spend another 2 hours on Zoom or Teams in the evening. But throughout the whole thing, I felt the members were really, and this is really, I think, the hats off need to go to, both the membership for really stepping it up and staying involved, staying interactive with us, as well as our great committee who put in all that effort for putting these sorts of things together.
Yeah, no, that is it. So a massive part of your life, and it served your mental health, your mental well-being, a really strong experience that the world has gone for the last 2 years.
I would hope so. Although I will say, when it gets to 11 p.m. on night number 2 of the concert week, and we have to pack up the chairs before we can all leave, the old stress meter is possibly a little bit higher than normal. But it's definitely worth it.
So you're back now. COVID is history. What is it you want to tell people that are listening and possibly want to get involved in the London International Choir? Over to you, Ben. Make your pitch.
Absolutely. Well, this is actually your prime time to get involved. We've just completed our summer concert season. We had our concert very recently, and in fact, we're going to be soon opening up our doors to recruit new members. So if you're interested and you'd like to come and meet us and get a hang of what it's like to sing with us in a place, simply come on down to the Freemasons Hall, that's near Holborn Station, on Wednesday, August 31st, so you've got a bit of time to prepare. We'll be rehearsing from 7 p.m. to about 9 p.m. That's our typical rehearsal slot, from 7 till 9, and you'll get a chance to meet all of us, a chance to sing a little bit as well if you'd like to get the experience of singing along with our musical director and ourselves as well. And indeed, hopefully, you will choose to then stick around with us for the course of our winter season, which is going to run over the course of September, October, November and December.
No, that's cool. I've just put your website on there, so people can inquire about joining through the website as well, can't they? So there's loads of information on there.
That's right. You can get in contact with us via the website. There'll be an email address on the website to contact us by. But we're also very active on social media as well. So we've got a Facebook profile. We also have an Instagram profile. Quite simply, at London International Choir. Send us a message, send us a DM, and we'll definitely see it.
No, that's cool. And how much is it to join?
Sure, absolutely. So we do our costing based on being involved for the full season. So it's £125 at the moment for your involvement in the season. That covers all of your rehearsals. It covers the time we spend with the musical director, and it also covers things like your extra rehearsal materials that you'll get. So our musical director will prepare learning tracks, little karaoke things for us to sing along to at home in our spare time, which are just so useful for these things, as well as paying for the music itself. In order to get, whether it's printed booklets or whether it's just online versions that we download and have on our tablets, that needs to be paid for. So this is the sorts of things that the funds go towards.
And how regularly do you meet? Is it weekly?
Yes, that's right. So we rehearse every Wednesday during the season. The rehearsals are from 7 until 9 p.m. What we also like to do during the seasons are a couple of extra practices that take place over weekends. Now, these are usually full days. They start about 10, usually about 10:30, go on till about 5. And they're really, this is arguably the point where we bond most together as a crew, because we will sing all day, and we'll also have social games and activities, as well as, of course, the obligatory visit to the pub.
That is vital. So all of this has a purpose. You don't just meet to sing, do you? Like regularly, weekly. Is it right? You do events. You do public performances.
Yes,
you mentioned the big winter performance in February. How regularly do you do your public showcases, kind of thing?
Absolutely. So the normal pattern that we used to do for concerts was to do a concert in December. It's the winter time, prime time for all choirs. We then have a slightly longer summer season, which starts in January, February, and goes up to around June or July time. So we typically run 2 seasons per year. But if you're interested, this time round, because our things were slightly delayed, we're actually, by the time we get to winter, that will be our 3rd season in a row that we will have launched within this year of 2022.
Wow, okay. And we've seen little snippets of the music you do. It's not just the serious stuff, is it? What sort of tracks or songs do you sing? Whatever the terminology is.
Absolutely. So, again, the key word is international in our name. So we will sing songs from all over the world, all different cultures in a variety of languages. Our most recent concert, we sang in Portuguese, we sang in French, we even sang in English, imagine. And the style of the music can indeed range from what you might consider to be quite classical, choral, big sort of bombastic numbers, all the way through to folk music that's from a particular part of the world, and indeed contemporary pop music.
Okay, such as.
So we sang "Take on Me" in our most recent show, as well as, I'm thinking back to previous ones. We've done "Umbrella" by Rihanna, though it's a version you might not necessarily have heard before. And indeed, yes, a whole range of different songs.
Oh, cool. Okay, we're going to play another tune in a moment then. So, give us 2 tips to improve our singing.
Okay, 2 tips to improve the singing. So the first one, don't be afraid to start. There's so much sort of self-pressure, I think, around in terms of singing and being artistic in general. And if I had a pound for every person I've ever met in my life who said, I would love to sing, but I just can't, or I don't want to do it, I don't want to embarrass myself or anything like that, and that's basically cut them off the path to doing any kind of singing, I would have more money than I do at the moment.
Wow. Okay.
But and even if it might not happen immediately, but you'll never be able to start experiencing the sort of joy that singing and being a part of this experience can give you.
We do here at Old Oak. We do loads of karaoke.
Oh,
is that something you do? Is that something you do at Canary Wharf? Do you do that?
Absolutely. Something that's coming in very strongly at the moment. And indeed, basically, I think of it this way: if you've ever done karaoke before, you'll absolutely be able to rock with us.
Wow. Okay. So the second tip,
My second tip is find the songs that really speak to you and the songs that you enjoy singing along to. You might find if you go and sing in some places or you're trying to learn, they'll give you very specific things to learn. They won't let you do anything else. That sometimes can put people off because I don't like that particular song or anything like that. Open your mind up to a variety of different music that you might not necessarily have thought of before, and really dive into it. You might find that there are songs you know that you may think, I can't sing that. It's too high for me. It's too low for me. It's not quite right. I'm willing to bet there'll be a choir version of that song somewhere, which will have a part that you'll be able to sing. And indeed, when we do our pieces, and this is of course assuming you join our lovely choir, whenever we get to the end of the season, we always do put out a poll to the members to suggest new songs for us to work on. So it's one of the things, really. If you join us and you stick around, you potentially might be able to have your favorite karaoke track blasted out by 30 people at top volume in a fancy building.
I've got to say, I was told to mime. We did West Side Story at school, and I was told to mime. I used to think I was quite good. Then that kind of dented me a bit, but I am a karaoke king. I do very good Gary Barlow. So, no, Ben, I absolutely love your passion. You've just sold it, I think, tonight. Yeah, so it's the LondonInternationalChoir.com to find out more information, find out when it's happening. You'll meet Ben. We're going to end now then, Ben, by playing another song. Which one's this? Is it J Ho? This one is. So do you want to tell us a bit about this?
So this is one of our, I guess we're going to call it one of our choir classics. The recording you'll see now, I think, is from a few years ago. We brought this song back in our most recent summer concert because it was such a great hit, and it is a song that was suggested by one of our choir members who is from India. It's a song that was made famous by the movie Slumdog Millionaire. There is an English version. There is an English version done by the Pussycat Dolls. We did not shirk from doing the full proper version in the original language, and a couple of the Canary Wharf collective contingent came by to hear us at the most recent concert, and they said this song was one of their favourites. So I hope you guys enjoy it too.
Oh wow! You've got a fan base. Right, here it is. Thank you, Ben. And yeah, so people, I've got your socials. I'll put it underneath the YouTube clip as well, so people will be able to contact you. Thank you so much. Have a really good season. All the best with your next event and your winter event. So this is it J-Ho? Is that how it's pronounced?
Well, you'll hear the tenor section shouting it quite a lot. It is Jai-Ho. That is the...
wow, okay.
That is the thing.
No, that's brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Ben. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And we're back in 2 weeks' time. Don't go away.